venture no farther. Blood to cross the very...
Moving to orifice manipulator. Meet your maker. Prepare yourself. Hazardous concoction vessel generator.
They just keep coming. Look around. There's got to be a way to make them stop.
Moving to noxious atmosphere enabler. Another one? How many more could there be? Transposition engine. Corporeal transposition imminent. Cool. Moving to involuntary death assistant. Moving to involuntary death assistant. Moving to noxious atmosphere. Noxious atmosphere enabled. Moving to rapid descent cranial disruptor.
Lever did something. I could feel it.
Moving to reinforcement deployer. Or reinforcements deployed. Moving to orifice manipulator. Orifice manipulator.
They just keep coming. Look around. There's got to be a way to make them stop. It feels like that lever did something.
heard gears moving.
Moving to reinforcement deployer. All reinforcements deployed.
Something happened, I think.
Something's happening.
Sleepy
Must have been the
time.
last lever. Careful. I spotted a trap.
You reach for your weapon, but as the small Voidwoken skitters forward, you get the sense that it's not here to fight. It looks at Fane, clicking and chittering in excitement, and introduces itself. Fane starts in shock. He knows it. The Voidwoken was a colleague from Fane's days at the Academy, his assistant. It claims it knows how to save the Eternals. It promises Fane that if he can snatch the powers of the Seven, then he can restore his people. Not under the rule of the God King or the Void, they would finally be free. Fane turns away, pensive and quiet. Even as a skull, you can see the pain etched into his...
Do you know, this Ark's place doesn't look half bad. Important does not do it just. She tells me there is a way to save my people. The power of Divinity could bring them back. Not as monsters, but restored to their former glory. I could have my old life again. On the surface, yes. But what does that mean for... The Eternals cannot be eternal without the source your god stole from them. No, if they return, they will reclaim their source. The source that was used to create. If the Eternals come home to this world, we will live in it as your masters. You will be our slaves at best, our food at worst. You want me to abandon them? To leave them to burn for eternity under the Void? I understand. It's just... they're my people. Although... well... I'm sorry. I can't...
The truth hangs heavy upon the air itself, unspoken. This is the point of no return. Somewhere beyond this point, you shall be undone, or you shall ascend. There is no middle ground.
Come here often. I don't know what you did, but you just released a source flood. I thought I'd come and see what all the fuss was about. Should have known you were getting yourself into trouble. Looks like the big moment has finally arrived. I will do everything I can to support you, Godwoken. I will pray for you. I think you'll need it. You'd think, right? But no, still, do not underestimate my presence. This is a place of incredible power where a single prayer holds the weight of thousands. So, I will pray for you. Your heart and soul will fill as quickly as they're drained. Consider it a taste of your divine future. The people will pray for you. In turn, they'll trust you to do right. Of course, it's up to you whether or not to listen. I know how I'd respond, but...
Melody wearily chuckles to herself. Then...
Looks like my investment's paid off after all.
I need worship, only one divine. And I believe he stepped...
You've shown me kindness in the face of my sins. My worship is the least I can offer.
Now go. Rivellon needs...
The squirrel looks up at you and pats your leg reassuringly. He gives you a nervous thumbs up before...
It's broken.
Godwoken. Dallis told me about you. You must be as hard as diamonds, and twice as bright, to have come so far. Your divine welcomes you.
The divine you thought dead lords over the chamber from a granite throne. He moves to speak, but it's Wiedemann's voice that next pierces the air.
What a twist.
Lucian frowns at Wiedemann, then bestows a benevolent smile upon you. All that you know of him flashes across the panorama of your mind.
Lucian, you lying snake! You betrayed me! You used me to bring death to my own people! And for what? To make the world a better place? Look around!
Ifan, my friend. There were many sacrifices that had to be made. You were but one. Each of them pained me, but I would make them all again.
Lucian, we should tell him the truth.
Yes, I agree. It is time we dropped our masks.
Dallis nods, then reaches for the sides of her head. Where there was one face, suddenly there are four. She takes off the mask of the shapeshifter. A skull is revealed, bejeweled and ancient as the void.
I am eternal.
Aren't they just full of surprises?
Fear not, Godwoken. Dallis is on the side of all that is good. She is helping me rid Rivellon of the influence of the Source. Listen to her.
I shall tell you the tale as I told it to Lucian. Long ago, the scholar Fane discovered that the veil between the world and the void was made of Source. Our 7 lords desired this power.
Of course.
Silence, slave. Our king forbade the 7 to reach for this power, but they didn't listen. Instead, they rebelled and sent the king and his people into the void.
With the Source they stole from the Veil. The 7 created the races so they would have worshippers.
During their lives, worshippers collect Source. When they die, the gods feed from them. It's an ingenious system.
Our souls are nothing but vats for the Source-hungry gods.
The 7 made a mistake. By taking its source, they tore a hole in the veil, and it is through this hole...
The 7's lust for power let in the void. Our goal is to close the hole they created, to restore the Source to the veil. When we are done, there shall be no more Source in the world. Rivellon will be finally free from the gods that enslaved them.
My people cannot be allowed to return from the void. They are tarnished. They are void-woken.
There is more, but she hesitates to share it. Then she decides that she...
I was a child when the God King tore my family apart. I was purged of Source and left to rot in a putrid tomb. It was hell. A hell I suffered for the sins of my father. He was the one that betrayed the God King. He was the one that told the 7 the secrets of the Veil. The cruel joke of it all is that the same tomb that housed my tortured body is what sheltered me from the void. Fane. Yes. Fane is my father.
What? No, everything Dallis did. It was all you. Child.
Everything I did to fix your mistake. Our people, every purged sorcerer, every dead magister. But now I have revenge. Revenge on the 7 and the God King. Revenge for what they took.
The hammer's voice falters and her coolness vanishes. Every crack and rasp betrays her grief. But her next words burn not with sadness.
Did you even look for me? Did you even look for her?
Dallis, control yourself. Our purpose transcends your personal wounds.
Yes. You are right.
Dallas's reasons weren't mine to question. All that ever mattered to me was peace. Peace for Rivellon. Peace for me, whatever the means. And now, we are on the precipice.
With the 8th, the real Dallis didn't volunteer herself to me, mind you. Curiosity led her to the tomb. My hunger for Source took care of the rest. And then I took her place. It didn't take long to realize that Lucian was the key to my vengeance.
While Dallis sought the Aetheran, I started draining the gods of their source.
Slurp, slurps.
One more word from you, and I shall use the leap.
I had to hide from the gods. So I had the walls of this crypt equipped with tenebrium and protections put in place. It worked. Everyone, even the gods, as divine, I was created. empowered to stop the void. I was the avatar of the Seven, their strength and their weakness. My bond to them allowed me to drain them of their source.
Maggot. I am no slave.
With a flick of her wrist, Dallis sends a jolt through Brachus's body. He writhes in pain.
Don't worry, he's well under control. He has made a fine servant. Isn't that right?
Dallis punctuates her statement with another wrist flip. Brachus shudders, but his lips remain curled in a self-satisfied...
Yes, in a sense. When the death fog was unleashed, many elves died. With fewer elves to worship him, Tias and Dilius weakened. This gave the God King his foot. To strengthen himself, he sent his Voidwoken, the remnants of my people, to hunt down...
The Voidwoken. Disgusting things. They ravaged the land they touched and infected the air they breathed. They were also... You see, blaming the sorcerers for Voidwoken.
The Aeterran now contains almost all of the source the Seven stole. Soon, we will be able to heal...
The void shall be banished, and I, Lucian the Divine, shall return... A false divine, of course. I shall have no power. But the world will not know this.
The plan is almost complete.
We have made so many sacrifices, Godwoken. All of us. Of ourselves and those we love.
Decide. Be the true hero and give up your source, or be forced to submit. Like a coward. Like a slave.
There is no other way. The source of the world is required to close the veil. Or we only lack yours.
As I say, one last sacrifice is required. Yours. We already had more than enough Godwoken.
Another sacrifice I was forced to make. Those beautiful people. I was as kind as I could be. Alexander was Godwoken.
The task fell to...
And me.
Good. You understand.
The world shall not know this. I shall return from the grave, a divine without power, yet all who desire power...
More than enough. Far more. I will suffer him to live no longer.
Ifan unsheaths his weapon. He stands by your side with every muscle tensed, like a coiled spring. Fire blazes in his eyes as he looks to you for support.
You know what this means to me.
Ifan gives you a hard look. His fingers twitch on his weapon.
But I trust my friends. And I trust that you merely delay my vengeance, not deny it outright.
Show some responsibility, Father! So...
Sealing the veil will lock our people away forever. They will never be free of the void. Though if they return, what becomes of this...
Fane turns to you. In all the time that you've traveled together, you've never seen him like this.
And you, my fellow adventurers. Together we have seen more than generations of mortals could ever... You showed me how beautiful it really was.
You'll be a hero. Everyone will know the sacrifice you'll make. Your name will be synonymous.
Don't let them do this to us!
The last time I obeyed Lucian, countless innocents died. Surrender my source. He should surrender his life.
No. Never.
I understand. Sacrifice takes your sacrifice.
I'm sorry. You've come such a long way, but there is too much at stake.
Feeling poorly, Dallas? Good. You shall not seal the veil. And now it is... I call on the God King.
How? What? You are unleashed!
Friedemann cackles in delight at this turn of events.
You left the leashing wand next to me, you stupid maggot. So accustomed had you become to me pretending to be your slave.
Kill him!
Do shut up, you tedious buffoon. And don't look so surprised. As if I would allow that bone bag...
This is not the time for talk. Kill him!
Too late, you mouldering, blight-stained pigs. Grant me power, my ally. You dare interrupt Brachus Rex? How novel. Who are you to challenge the Source King? You were the fetid dirt on my boot.
The God King hears my call. He sends a companion.
Come to your father, my pretty. Come to the Source King.
but the weight of his own pain leaves him to gravity's mercy.
My time is done. But you, your source burns so bright I'm all but blinded by it. Be wise and true, Godwoken.
Dallis groans in pain.
I have failed. The future of all that is...
Well then, this is, as they say, it. I never dreamed that after all this, I would be standing here with one of your kind. Let alone that I would be proud to do so. I cannot imagine someone I would trust more with divinity, including myself.
Fane lays a bony hand on your shoulder,
Do you know, I believe you will.
So here we are. The end. Nobody I'd rather see this whole thing through with. I trust you. I trust your judgment. I know you will. I know you. You're the best damn friend I've ever had. Well then, let's do this.
Here we stand, once more on the cusp of divinity. But this cup, so long thirsted for, all my life has been a lead-up to this. I will not say it was in vain, but if I were to chance upon my throne right now, I would sit down beside it, cast my glance to the horizon. I'd think of Sadher. I'd think of my children, their joyous dance through fiery... And of course, I'd think of you, of the adventures we had. Yes, I'd sit there, thoroughly contented, and wait for you to ascend the throne. I know.
A mischievous smile.
But I do have to add, likewise.
You think back on your journey here, on all that you have seen and done. You think of the Magisters, and the sorcerers they hunted. You think of how the Eternals came as Voidwoken to reclaim their... You look at the source around you. The power. You think of what you could do with such power. The rights... You marvel at your journey and how it has changed you. It's time to choose your fate, and the fate of all you hold dear. What shall it be? Shall you be divine? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aetheran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take, or to sacrifice. What you do next decides your own fate and the future of the world. What shall you do with divinity?
So it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. A new divine rose, a true heir to the Seven, more powerful than ever, and united Rivellon in its battle against the Void. All across the realm he was loved, worshipped, and adored. Humans, lizards, elves, and dwarves all rallied to his banner. The Great Allegiance stood once more, but the war continued. From the depths of the void, the God King still sought to return. As for me, my last hope of ever being freed of the God King's terrible tyranny faded when the Godwoken claimed divinity. An eternity of pain and suffering is mine. I cling now to the dream that one day the veil will be sealed, that one day I can be freed, that one day a new Godwoken will rise.
Well, well, look what... He smiles at... You've done us proud. You saved the world, didn't you? Perhaps, but we all knew only one of us could. I'm glad it was you. Home, if you don't mind. After all, I've dragged there. I do so love to sit all day, but above all, I long to be with... Oh, but remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth? Not something one forgets in a hurry. Now, if you recall, as per your own testimony, you can cook, tailor, and groom. At the time, of course, I couldn't have foreseen the adventure ahead, but now that it's quite over, I'd like to renew... What say you? Well, that settled it. My boots are not going to keep...
Well, here we are again. Get an eyeful, Your Holiness.
She turns to you.
Oh, look at you. Magnificent. Don't I? Let's hope it pays off.
She fingers the mic.
We've come along soon. I'd like to have a little chat about something new, but relax, enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Oh, I don't. And when the time... Your Holiness.
The squirrel smiles.
Well, if it isn't the new Divine gracing me with that, no, of course I intend to see
Tarquin's.
I didn't come all...
Amazing. Well, you're so much like him. My instincts tell me to kneel to the new Divine. I've done so before, after all. But...
Gareth is...
Perhaps not.
Gareth's mind wanders.
I find a way, and so I find...
A slight grin.
I see great...
Ifan gives you reflected it.
So, I truly hope you'll do better than Lucian. Be better. You need to do, but if I can give, remember that you serve the... I need to... I'm going to... Maybe will.
He pauses. Fane is reading a volume of Cranley. His eyes stay fixed on the book as you approach.
Yes.
Fane looks up.
Fascinating. The power of my people. The power of the Veiled. All in one delicate mortal shell. Who could have imagined? The powers of the universe.
The skeleton...
I can't help thinking that I could have saved them. That I could have done something. You could have saved. Don't misunderstand. That doesn't mean they deserve that much.
The skeleton hefts.
I've been It's shit.
Fane tosses.
If you have spent your life staring at it, you creatures have spent your lives trudging about this world, and you've grown blind to its miracles. Simply that to see the truth, take otter or octopuses. Octopuses? Regardless. The world is filled with absolute... Do you know? I suppose with... But my in a way, in you...
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. I will always... I am at the ready. Consider me to be a gift from Malady. My wood was splintered, but my spirit intact. I feel better than new.
Closer wings.
You're the new Divine. That's so cool. Neat. I'll be... There's also...
He taps his...
1,300,000 dozen and 50 gold pieces. Now pay up. Oh, yeah? What's that?
Han ponders your suggestion.
You got it. Everybody better watch out.
There's nothing interesting down there. The future lies above, not below.
Shall we sail?
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun, and with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance. War raged on. Arx remained the center of power as the races united behind the Divine. But the Voidwoken attacks continued as they did elsewhere. Arx would see many more long years of war. The ancient empire of lizards became one of the pillars of the new Divine Alliance. The houses of war and of shadows were particularly useful in the fight against the God King. The empire used the war to expand its territory. Justinia returned to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven kingdom fought for the Divine, and her loyalty was unquestionable. Many fine and courageous dwarves did their people great honor, in battle and in death. With Lucian gone, the elves reluctantly rejoined the Divine Alliance. Their place in the war on the Void would entirely depend on the integrity of the new Divine. And here and there, across the world, what was left of the Black Ring fought on. The island of Fort Joy remained a sorcerer's paradise, a place of exile for those whose sorcery threatened to bring in the void. For their well-being, its residents depended entirely on the benevolence of the new divine. Reaper's Coast struggled on. The farms and the fisheries fought to feed the people against the Voidwoken blight. The Black Pit took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood teetered on the edge of starvation until the night the Voidwoken came from the sea. All were killed. This did, however, put an end to the famine. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Arks battled on. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with ongoing war, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han grew up a warrior and became one of the Alliance's greatest generals. But even he could not win the war. With a new divine at the helm, Malady had a powerful ally. But she was in no hurry to call in her favor. After all, it might be the last thing she ever did. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. The undead priestess Gratiana remained in her sanctuary, happy to wait for the war to pass. She was troubled only by the silence of her goddess. Jehan the demon hunter never stopped hunting for demons. Sahala sought to strengthen the Elven alliance with the new divine. Her powers of sight proved useful in the ongoing war against the Void, but she could never be sure that the new divine trusted her. Tova, her mother, was Sahala's most trusted warrior. Fane traveled Rivellon, notebook in hand, recording the wonders he discovered. He kept a socket peeled for signs of the Eternals, hoping to find the wife he had lost. He's still looking. With a small band of elves, Ifan ben Medst replanted the lost forests. After the first fresh shoots broke the earth, Ifan returned to the war, leading the elves in service of the divine. Some say Afrit, his soul wolf, walks the forest still. On his return to the Empire, the Red Prince was hailed a hero. He married Sada, and they had many more dragons. Soon, the prince became the emperor. Faced with dragons, the Void did not gain the upper hand in the Empire. And then there was you. For how much of this do you take credit or blame? And what kind of divine were you as the world battled on? Did you show mercy or strength? Did you sacrifice others as Lucian had done? Did you regret becoming divine? Should you have given your soul and sealed the veil? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.
Come to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Come to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Sway with me, we'll make them scream. Dance with me, we'll make them bleed. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me.